Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into a really profound shift in American politics, sweeping changes to the U.S. immigration system that are designed to radically accelerate asylum proceedings. Immigration has been one of the most intensely debated issues in the country for a long time. But this isn't just a minor administrative tweak. It's a massive shift that could completely reshape the system and directly affect countless families. So we're going to break down exactly what is changing, why it's happening, and what it all means for the broader landscape of U.S. border policy. To really grasp the impact of this, I want you to put yourself in a specific scenario for just a second. Imagine arriving in the United States after a grueling, often dangerous journey. Your one singular hope is seeking asylum. Now, historically, you'd expect to wait months, maybe even years, just for your case to inch through the system. But what if you were suddenly told that your case is being fast-tracked straight to an immigration judge? No administrative limbo, no years of waiting, just an immediate rush to a final binding decision. Going from months of waiting to immediate courtroom decisions is exactly the new reality we're looking at today. For hundreds of thousands of asylum seekers, this accelerated timeline is becoming incredibly real. It's a fundamental rewiring of how people seek protection in the United States, moving away from a drawn-out waiting period to a highly accelerated, high-stakes legal reality. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the fast-track reality. So what is fast-tracking? Basically, it's the administration's aggressive, expanding effort to speed up asylum processing across the board. And again, this isn't just about shaving a few days off the clock. It's a comprehensive overhaul meant to prioritize speed from the exact moment an applicant arrives. To put this into perspective, cases that historically might have taken to 5 years to resolve, they're now being pushed to wrap up in just 5 weeks. That is a massive shift. Section 2, how the process is changing. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the mechanical shift happening behind the scenes. Under the old reality, applicants basically sat in lengthy administrative proceedings, which meant a whole lot of waiting. But under this new fast-tracked reality, they completely bypass that administrative limbo and get transferred directly into immigration court. In this new setting, immigration judges immediately determine whether an applicant qualifies for protection or if they're facing removal from the United States. It's a complete pivot from a slow administrative process to a rapid-fire judicial one. Section 3, the argument for speed. So why the rush? Well, supporters of this policy point to a system that they argue is just completely overwhelmed. Their first major point is that the current asylum system is literally drowning in a massive, growing backlog of cases. They believe faster decisions are absolutely essential to clear out those delays. Second, they argue that speeding things up will actively discourage fraudulent asylum claims right out of the gate. And finally, they emphasize that quicker decisions provide immediate certainty. For supporters, this certainty is a win-win. It helps those who genuinely qualify start their lives sooner and ensures those who don't qualify are promptly removed. Section 4, concerns over accelerated timelines. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what asylum seekers must now race to accomplish under these new rules. When cases are accelerated, these folks are suddenly thrust into a frantic race against the clock. They have to immediately secure legal representation, gather critical evidence to back up their claims, and prepare incredibly complex legal arguments for a judge. Critics, including immigration attorneys and advocacy groups, warn that moving this fast makes it incredibly difficult and sometimes frankly impossible for seekers to actually get these vital tasks done in such a tight window. To really contextualize that pressure, advocacy groups highlight a crucial point. Many of these applicants are fleeing severe hardship. We're talking about people who have experienced intense persecution, violence, or severe political instability back home. The argument here is that highly vulnerable individuals absolutely need adequate time to process their trauma, navigate an entirely foreign legal system, and properly present their cases. Critics are deeply worried that this fast-tracking sacrifices fundamental due process for the sake of sheer speed. Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 5, the future of immigration courts. Let's just slow down and pause on this staggering number for a second. Hundreds of thousands. If this fast-track policy rolls out on a large scale, it could affect hundreds of thousands of pending asylum applications. We are not talking about some small pilot program here. We are talking about a massive, unprecedented influx of cases being shoved rapidly through the judicial system, all at the exact same time. And because of that immense volume, the long-term reality of this policy hinges entirely on 3 immense systemic pressures. First up, immigration court capacity. The courts are going to be under crushing pressure as judges have to process way more cases in way less time. Second, incoming legal challenges. We're almost certainly going to see lawsuits as this policy rolls out across different jurisdictions. And third, future policy decisions. The ultimate success or failure of this entire acceleration effort depends squarely on how the system manages these exact three pressure points. But beyond the court capacity and the high-level legal debates, we have to remember the human element here. For so many families waiting for a decision, the coming months will literally dictate their ultimate fate. The result of this fast-track process is totally binary. They will either be allowed to remain in the United States or they'll face immediate deportation proceedings. It is a profoundly high-stakes reality, and it's unfolding in real time. Which brings us to the absolute core of this entire debate. This policy proposal is dramatically intensifying the conversation around American immigration. Whether you view these changes as a desperately needed reform to clear up backlogs or as a really concerning threat to humanitarian due process, it ultimately leaves us with this provocative question. How should the United States balance border security, immigration enforcement, and our humanitarian obligations? It's an incredibly complex balance, and the answer is going to shape the future of U.S. border policy for years to come. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep this question in mind as we continue to watch this story develop.